Hey guys, happy Monday. Hope you're all hanging in there. I know there's an avalanche of information coming your way. So when that happens, it's great to take a deep breath, go back to the facts, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. I'm going to distill for you what the White House told the American public today. We have some new guidelines in which we should live within for the next 2 weeks. And I also want to share with you some news from my own reporting that I think is really critical for understanding the story and the time and place that we're in. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about these new guidelines issued by the White House. What they would like you to do for the next 15 days include avoiding groups of 10 or more people, schooling from home if you're able, avoiding any non-essential travel, and eating and drinking from restaurants. They don't want you to do any of that, really. In addition to that, they mentioned that there's a vaccine candidate that is entering phase 1 of a trial. So they want you to know there's progress being made on that front. Also, very importantly, they commented about what to this point has been a mystery about this particular virus, COVID-19, about how exactly it's transmitted. For the first time today, the White House really emphasized that we know that the virus is spread before symptoms develop. And they're also saying that they believe there's a large percentage of Americans who will never, ever, ever have a symptom, but can still spread this illness. That's very different from what the World Health Organization has been saying over the last several weeks. What's been the belief is that you would need symptoms in order to be contagious. So that was something important just to keep in mind. In addition to this, here's some of my own reporting that I want to highlight for you. It's important as a journalist that often you double source information. And what I'm seeing, which is a positive, is a double sourcing of information, one from a doctor that's on the front lines and one from the White House as well that's making policy. So yesterday, the White House said to us that they're expanding their guidelines for who is a priority to be tested to include anyone over the age of 65 with respiratory illness symptoms and a very, very minor fever, almost a non-existent fever, 99.6. Any parent will know that if you bring a child in with a 99.6 fever, you get turned away from the doctors because it's not believed to be a fever. But now they're lowering that. So the fever is becoming less important. And this mirrors what a contagious disease specialist told me yesterday, that he's seeing people that are coming into his hospital that he would like to test that have absolutely no fever. So I took that information and shared that immediately with my parents. And I think it might be helpful for you to do that as well. If you know anyone over the age of 65, don't wait for a fever. If you have a cough or respiratory illness of any kind, it's time to call your doctor. In addition to that, there's been so much focus on those that are older because they're obviously the most vulnerable in this illness. But I want to talk to you a little bit about those that are younger. We heard before about the first case in America. A 35-year-old man flew from Wuhan, China back to Washington State and became patient 0. We heard that he was sick and that he recovered. But just published in the New England Journal of Medicine is details about his illness. And what you should know about this 35-year-old that was otherwise healthy is that he was sick for 2 weeks. He did have a high fever. He did have stomach upset. He did have some of these other symptoms. He also needed oxygen when he was in the hospital. His oxygen levels got to a point where the doctors decided to give him some extra oxygen. He wasn't gasping for breath, but he needed it. And so the picture of anyone younger than 65 just simply bouncing back from this illness is not exactly accurate. So we put some more information on that on our website. I want you to check it out. Bottom line from the White House is this, America, we have 2 weeks to overperform and exceed every expectation, follow all of these guidelines. If anyone is sick in our household at all, they really want the entire household to isolate, not only to protect ourselves over the next several weeks, but the next several months. So that is your task at hand, coming directly from the White House. Overperform. See it as a challenge. Overperform over the next several weeks. Try to stay healthy. Keep yourself away from large crowds and follow these new guidelines. They could change. They could become more strict if we don't do a good job now. Questions, comments, let me know. And always email us hello@smarternews.com. Have a great night, guys.